Hi everyone, I'm Cheryl, the Managing Director at Media Meerkat, and welcome to this very special episode, the fourth in our Media Talks podcast. And I would love to introduce our fourth guest, which is the founder of Extreme International, Alistair. Alistair, hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
Good. Yes, well, very well. Thank you very much.
I've got to start with asking, based on the fact that you obviously work in travel and production, are you in the UK at the moment, or are you somewhere?
I am today. You find me, on the ground, in a home office. Just been in London for the last few days, so yes, I'm grounded today, which is good. Getting through all the so yeah, very cool.
Whereabouts are you based?
I'm in London, quite a lot and traveling a huge amount. But then home is towards Winchester, South Coast area.
I'm Portsmouth way.
Around the corner.
Well, Petersfield I am.
Hey, we should have done it in person.
We should have done. That's the next one.
Indeed. Amazing.
How amazing. Cool. Small world. So tell everybody who you are and what you do exactly, because I've looked at your website, I've done a bit of research, and it sounds like you've got your hands in quite a lot of pies.
Yeah, so look, we run a business called Extreme International. We founded the business 27 years ago, goodness me. And originally we launched a business to do with media, focused on media to start with. We launched a small production distribution business. Then we thought we could launch a TV channel, always focused around adventure and extreme sports. And we ended up, we spent about 2 years looking for money and funding to make that happen. And we ended up, partnering with UPC and Liberty Media, and ended up, launching a TV channel called Extreme Sports Channel, which we ended up rolling into 68 countries around the world. And then, today, our vision as a brand is to drive positive change through extreme and adventure sports. And anything we look at, we want it to drive health, fitness, well-being, job creation on a very, very sustainable basis. We have a big thread running through the organization around sustainability and a focus on that. We have 3 divisions in terms of what we do. We have a hospitality tourism business, which is developing adventure camps. It's developing boutique adventure hotels and also some resort stuff around the world. It also has a consulting business where we work with a lot of governments, tourism authorities, developers, developing adventure sports, whatever that may be, whether it's business planning for a region or whatever. So, and obviously from a travel tourism perspective, adventure sports isn't the biggest pillar, but it's the fastest growing pillar within the tourism sector at the moment. So it's a niche, but a very, very fast growing niche. And the second part of our business is events. So designing, delivering events. We run an event on an annual basis around COP26 to do with sustainability environment called the Extreme Hangout, which is
coming up tomorrow, isn't it?
We have one happening tomorrow, actually on Saturday in Portugal. We had last weekend, we have one happening in Eden Project in Cornwall, and obviously heading towards. And so the way that operates is we run 2 weeks of big conference at COP, the big environmental conference. We did that in Glasgow 2 years ago. We did it in Egypt, and we're heading towards Dubai. And that we put change makers on the stage at COP. We have an amazing setup, and really driving intergenerational conversations. So, and we're looking to drive impact, looking to drive, popularize the climate conversation. And I've had some amazing people on the stage, from Bear Grylls to Lily Cole to the Prime Minister of the Bahamas I could go on and on and on. So, so that's the event side. And then on the media side of things, we run today predominantly focused on a social media publishing business. So we have about approaching 20 million fans on social, and we are publishing all predominantly short form, 1 minute, 3 minute, 30-second videos, and that generates about 300 million video views a month. So it's got some significant reach. And
Can I just ask you on that, when you say we produce these videos, do you have videographers all around the world so these are professional videos, these aren't things that people have filmed themselves and just...
You know what? From a content curation perspective, we have a network of videographers around the world, travel, adventure, tourism, but we also have UGC coming at us, being sent to us all the time. So it's this mix of content that we shoot. It's a mix of curated, it's all curated. And literally when you're running at that pace and that level, the machine needs, you know, it just needs a lot. So it's literally, I mean, we have live events from all the professional adventure sports and extreme sports, you know, found federations. We, you know, we're running live, we're running clips, we're running, you know, so it's an entertainment platform for that demographic.
What's your mission statement?
Our real goal is to drive positive change through adventure and extreme sports.
And other than the things that you just said, how do you, like, what does that actually mean though? What do you actually do to try and do? So, and I assume that that's different than when you started that mission statement.
Yeah, look, I think interestingly, from the day we launched the TV network, one thing I would really hope we did was a lot of people saw, whether it was skateboarding, snowboarding, mountain bike, whatever it was on the TV network, and thought, hey, I'm going to go try that, right? Mm-hmm. So it gave them the inspiration to go and try that sport or that activity, whether it's paddleboarding or trail running or just even getting outside, right? So our goal is really about inspiring people to go and try these activities, whatever it may be, because they drive health, fitness, well-being, all those great things. And they're also pretty sustainable, right? This is not we're you know, any sport that we are active in or activity is pretty aligned with nature, you know, in terms of, you know, you're not racing cars around a track, there's no petrol involved, etc. So it's and so what does that mean? It means, and how does that, you know, if you look at our media business, it's inspiring people on a day-by-day basis to go and try whatever that activity might be. If you look at our events business, we're obviously driving a significant sustainability mission on that one. And then if you look at our destination business, we're bringing that to life in real life. So you build a destination out, somebody can then go to that place and then actually do the sport and try the activity. And it's from grassroots, starter, beginner, from kids all the way through families, etc. So that's the way it's being organized to make sure we deliver on that vision and that mission statement.
When you've been talking for the last however long, 10 minutes-ish, you literally lit up the moment you started talking about your business. So I'd like to just go back to why you set it up. I assume that this is a personal passion of yours, and how you got it to where you have, because it's a bit of a beast now. Although I did notice on your website you've only got 11 employees on there. Yeah,
so it is a bit of a beast. Actually, on our website, we just show the senior team because there's just, so right, there's, you've got the senior team, there's a much wider.
Okay.
So yeah, it's only the senior management team on there, because otherwise we found we were just changing out people so much. The web team were like, okay. And look, I love, it really comes from a passion for the sports and the activities, right? And you know, my love is ocean and mountains. I'm a big windsurfer, just a sailor. I just love the ocean and the seaside of things. And then love the mountains in terms of whether it's climbing, whether it's skiing, whether it's, whatever it is. And so it really comes from, those passions. And actually, similar diver, I've got my pilot's license. I'm kind of,
wow.
it runs, and I think what you find in the organization is not 100%, but a good 90%, everybody, the people that come in and work with us and as part of the team, most of them will do one or multiple sports or be passionate about environment or sustainability or adventure activity outside. So that thread again runs through the whole organization, which is super good.
And so a lot of the things we talk about in this podcast is how someone's journey got them to where they are today. So talk to me a little bit about the ups and downs, the trials and tribulations that you might have had, or was it completely smooth sailing to set up? How did you go from this man in Winchester doing these kind of sports in his own time to this?
Yeah, actually, originally man in Essex, funnily enough, rather than Winchester.
Okay.
But
No
yeah.
Essex twang there.
Yeah. I literally, knew I wanted to start my own business and had that vision and had that plan. And age 24 was like, right, we started as a TV distribution business, so working that space, going to the TV trade shows, built that. Then that was a stepping stone into the TV channel side, which was amazing. And the TV channel was the break point, right? That was the point which really, really elevated and accelerated us at the most extraordinary rate, which was great. And then look, trials and tribulations. I've had many. I mean, I could talk for hours on the ups and downs. I think, listen, my key thing is with all of these things with business, it's about the journey and enjoying the journey, and it's about the people, right? And I have the most amazing team of people who I work with on a day-to-day basis. Our social media publishing team, everybody in that is pretty much under 25. They're all, and there's an amazing team in that part of the business. There's an incredible team within the Extreme Hangout team of very passionate adventure and environmentalists and people who are really, really working that space. Incredible team on that one. And then on the destination side, and the hospitality side, it's this mix of hospitality talent with who are really, really, who love adventure, that's what their core love is again. And so, and I suppose COVID was extraordinary in terms of, our events business just hit a wall and we had to make some pretty significant decisions around changing things around. Cash flow, we had cash in the bank, thank God, which we managed very carefully. And I'm sure, a lot of people out there, if you're running a business with any scale and or big part of your revenue suddenly stops overnight, it's crazy. I mean, it's pretty, and so that probably the most recent massive challenge I've had is managing that and minutely managing the cash flow, which I've been doing it for a long time, so I can suddenly step into cash flow and I can step into the detail on that. Down to what are we spending on across the company on mobile phones, right? It's that kind of and you have to manage, and that COVID was probably the big one that's most recently in terms of massive challenges. But that was about moving very quickly, very swiftly, and we still stand here today because we could have very, very easily had hit the wall during COVID. That's for sure if we hadn't done that.
When we talk about COVID, and it comes up in every conversation that I have because it feels to me like I had a baby during COVID, so when I look back at that time, it's kind of like, really, was that our life? Like, but it lasted for a long time, right? It was crazy, but it almost feels like that didn't happen.
Yeah, I'm with you. It feels like a sort of moment in time craziness. Yeah. And congratulations on your.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, she's 3.5 now, but.
Yeah, amazing. But you're right. It does. And look, it was a moment of crazy stress for me and managing situation at the same time. Amazing, and I wasn't in the city. I was in the countryside, in the middle of nowhere, and it was incredibly quiet, an amazing moment of peace, actually. For so it was a real juxtaposition there. But and listen, if you look at China, they were all locked down for even longer. I mean, we've got some amazing friends and partners in China, and they've only came out of it 6 months ago, right? I mean, they were really, really, they dragged it on in terms of timelines, but yeah, you're right. It does feel, it's just a surreal moment in time, right? It really is. So
It was. When I look back to I remember vividly exactly the day, that he announced that my husband couldn't go to work, and I had a couple of week newborn, and it was just crazy. But the travel industry, I speak to clients all the time across the sector, and when I speak to travel, some of them aren't here anymore. Some of them talk about the fact that they didn't know how to pivot. How do you pivot when you're not allowed out your house? Like,
yeah.
How did you do that? And was there a moment, or was there ever a moment where you thought, we're not going to survive this?
No, and there wasn't. I am I've been an entrepreneur for a long time, and survival on that basis is about cash flow and cash, right? And it is also about making hard decisions to protect the core of the business. And we had to let people go in the events business, and we restructured that very quickly. We had to do that. But the rest of the business, we didn't let anybody else go, right? We reduced salaries of all the senior team to half salary pretty much immediately. And that was hard for everybody. But it was a survive, and the core senior team understood we need to do this for a period of time to reserve capital to make sure we've all got jobs in the longer term, right? And so that was just that. And I made those decisions very quickly. And I then looked at it and thought, okay, we were lucky enough to have capital in the bank. We have a runway which is going to hopefully ride us out. And we managed that and we rode that out. Now, I didn't think we were, did it get very tight? Yes. My next phase on that worst case scenario, you have to start letting big chunks of people go, right? Because you then bring your overheads down. Thank God I didn't get to that point, but I'm on it enough where, we were managing that in the real detail, managing that and watching ahead, so that I knew, and if we had to make that hard decision, we were going to make that hard decision early enough to ensure the overall company survival, right? So that's the way we managed it. And so, I didn't at any point think, there was a chance we were going to, go bankrupt or, go into liquidation. That wasn't an option. Do you know what I mean? Having done it for 27 years.
Did you come out? I mean, I don't want to be cheesy, but did you come out stronger? Did you come out with a different?
I think we did come out stronger. I think we came out the team gathered together, right? We were definitely closer as a team. We were already close. We definitely, and we restructured some stuff and improved some stuff. I had a moment to kind of go, right, what are we doing here? What are we doing there? We drove, we were pre-COVID, we were doing a bit of motorsports, extreme, and we cleared all that out. We had a really good think about sustainability, environment. We did a massive kind of assessment, and that was a big change and a big driver on that one was also key.
Awesome. And one of the things I wanted to talk to you about was the fact that you have such a huge focus now on purpose-driven content, and obviously you've got the sports and the entertainment. How do you manage that with the commercial aspect of running a business? Because in some ways it feels that it's not juxtaposition at all, but to be sustainable, but then you also run a travel business that requires,
Yeah, and look, we're all on the journey from a sustainability perspective, yeah. Are we perfect? No, not at all. And yeah, I think there's two different parts here. The content business is pretty low impact. I mean, yes, it has a digital impact and using energy to a degree, but it's not. It isn't. It isn't too. Whereas the travel side of things is much more. And balancing that off in terms of just working through the sustainable goals that we have for any hospitality offer, whether it's hotel, camp, whatever it may be that we're working on. And it cuts into the margin, right? And you have to make those decisions. And there's a balance there, right, around that margin versus that. And you have to just be sensible and do the best you possibly can under the circumstances. And that's the way we approach it. And I think, listen, our Extreme Hangout initiative, it has a big effect, right? It's doing an amazing job, and we obviously run this major event a year, once a year at COP. But then the way that works is we have anybody like a TEDx, anybody can come to us and say, I want to run one of these things anywhere in the world, and then they run that with our framework, with our manual. We do the media part with them, and that is, we've run 12 events in the last 3 months, and we've probably got another 30 looking forward in terms of that side of things. And that's last weekend, an amazing young team of environmentalists running an event with us in the Eden Project. And the same going on in Portugal next weekend. So that's really scalable, and that's having an impact, which is amazing. So super cool.
You just talk. We've mentioned COVID, and I'd love to know what your perspective is on 2023, because most people in the sort of traditional media or television space have really suffered this year. It's been a, traditional television more so, but really, really suffered. How are you guys faring? Because there was this kind of post 2020, post COVID boom. Everything was going crazy, and hiring was amazing, and then this year, very, very different story.
Yeah, so our focus is as you can hear, is we're focused around social media and the digital media as a social media publisher, right? So we're similar to a Lab Bible but obviously focused on adventure, environment and sustainability and extreme sports. And so actually we made some changes in that business in terms of management team, and actually we've doubled our numbers. So we are, and the team has grown. The team are amazing. As I said, they're all, apart from two of us, myself and another senior level team, we're touching base with them sort of 3 times a week, but they are running that, and everybody's under 25. And that business is massively up. I mean, really up in a very big way. So for us, it's because we've been less affected by that, the parts that, Cheryl, that you're talking about in terms of impact. And so we're in pretty good shape there in terms of that side of things. I think the other thing we are starting to do more and more of out of that business, which is growing pretty quick, is we obviously run a social media publishing business, and we're starting to do that for third-party brands who, we have this understanding of how to curate and then post and publish content which drives big numbers. And if you're a brand, it's treating that platform, or it's treating that thinking as we're going to run our social platforms as a brand, as an entertainment publishing business, and as a brand page, right? And that way we're able to grow a brand's page much quicker than their own. We can use our own to promote it, etc. So that part of our business is growing very, very quickly as well, in terms of the clients that we're working with around that, which is interesting. So we've got a number of areas of growth on that side of things, and we're looking at some acquisitions as well of other pages on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, etc.
What amazes me about all of this is that you don't look tired.
Yeah,
it sounds like you do a lot, and you look really good.
Thank you. I cover a lot. I've got an amazing team around me, right? That's from really incredible teams around me. And I'm not vegetarian, but I'm pretty close to it. I'm not eating huge amounts of meat. I'm
a vegetarian.
I'm exercising. I'm managing that stress levels pretty carefully. But yeah, thank you. That's super kind comments.
If you were to talk to yourself all those years ago when you started, would you have told yourself, knowing what you know now and all these years of experience, would you have told yourself something different, or would you just said, go for it, enjoy the ride?
I definitely would say go for it, enjoy the ride. I've definitely made some mistakes along the way. I probably would have said, hey, just watch out for this one or that one, that's for sure. But no, it has been amazing, right? And continues to be. And right now we're on a growth curve again, having come out of COVID, on a very big wave right now. And with, as I said, it just comes back to working with the incredible people I'm working with, and having a great time ultimately.
You sound it. And just on that, you're in Winchester at the moment, but you've been in London and you've been in Cornwall, and you're flying all over the world all the time. Do you ever get up in the morning and go, oh, I don't want to go to that airport, I don't want to get on that plane, I'm tired of being away all the time?
Funnily enough, so I'm not traveling. I haven't been, yes, I'm traveling quite a bit, but I'm not traveling crazy. It goes in waves, my travel, right? So before COVID, I was traveling a huge amount. I've then had a pretty relaxed period, not traveling a huge amount. The next 3 months is the next few months is intense. And I manage that very carefully, right? Because you can end up, there are definitely moments it's the travel piece. It's going through the airport again, and that security. My fuse in that area can be quite short, but you just got to grin and get on with it and try and enjoy the journey, right? And so
Yeah.
it's the small things I find, and it's really random. It's like, it's going to a specific restaurant, in Terminal 5, or wherever, whatever that might be. It's those little things, and you kind of get into that groove. You know what you're doing, and where you go.
It's funny. I remember when I was in TV and I filmed the world's most incredible hotels, and I literally remember saying to my husband, I'm sick to death of being in a hotel, in an airport, sorry. And then I had to remind myself that I was going to India to stay at the Oberoi Group, and then you bring yourself straight back down.
And that is that's actually what I love, is facilitating travel, especially for the younger team in the organization, because they, we've got, one person who is in fact, she's from Essex, Teresa, and she's at the moment in Germany, but is going to Portugal this weekend. And you can just tell that, and she was in Cornwall last weekend, that travel piece for a lot of people is amazing, right? And for young people who are just wanting to do that, and facilitating that, making that happen for me, for some of them, and as many as we can, is really, really, really cool. It's really cool. So that's that I really love, and seeing that enjoyment that those team get. And actually in the social business, we get invited to go and film or go and get involved in lots of different, whether it's a mountain bike event or whatever, and the team get to be able to sometimes travel to those events and be there for the weekend or whatever, and that's also, it's really, really, really good from it just gives an additional perk and additional piece. But Cheryl, I do, when you're back to back travel, the novelty does wear off, after a while. And I've done some miles, that's for sure.
It does, but then you do have to remind yourself you're in a pretty fortunate position. It's not a 9 to 5. It's not, clock in, clock out. You are lucky in that way.
Incredibly lucky, and absolutely, and privileged beyond. So 100%.
I'm going to ask this from a personal perspective, so forgive me if it throws you off slightly, but I'm going to ask it. So obviously you've mentioned, you've got a young, vibrant team. I also imagine a lot of the content that you do appeals to not necessarily single people, but certainly the younger demographic, because it's adventure and sport, things like that. Is there a market, do you think, or is there a way of you potentially bridging the gap between families or people with children that want to kind of experience that, or are those worlds just way too far apart?
No, not at all. Sorry, you're saying through our business is the way of bringing families into that?
Yeah, into your world that usually appeals to a younger audience.
Absolutely. That is very much one of our key things, is making sure anything we develop or look at is accessible to all, right? And so you think about, yes, we've got to cater to the pros and those guys up there, but as important, if not more so, is making sure, bringing young children, and sometimes these things can be quite daunting, and making sure we bring them in and educate them and just get them on whatever, it's a bike or whatever activity it might be. That is just so rewarding and so important, 100%. And that then opens up family, opens up that whole, and it's normally through the kids, is obviously the way we tend to work it. Or, mum or dad is really keen on this sport, this activity or that, and then you help them facilitate that through, which is amazing. And I have I've got 2 children of my own, which are, my son is a mad keen climber and doing incredibly well at that sport, and then I've got a daughter who's really great at sailing and really great at water skiing, right? So
it was inevitable though, surely.
Well, it's funny though, if you push, as keen dad, whatever, if you push too hard, I've worked out, you've got to be really let them own that stuff, right? Otherwise they're like, forget it. But no, all good.
And then just a couple more questions, and then I'll let you go. What, after all this time and all this success and all these ups and downs, what continues to be your why?
Listen, the people I work with are my why, and the brand vision and what we're doing. And, one of the other big drivers for me is you know, in the not too distant future, I want to be, I'm planning a reasonably long sailing trip. So catamaran, probably 6, 12, maybe a year, 2 years, whatever. And I may end up running work from that in a degree to a degree. So there's the, those are the, and the impact that we can have from an overall world, you know, on a personal front, that's quite, you know, that's what I'm heading for. And then on the work front, it's continuing to do and build what we're building, which is just, you know, super exciting.
And my very last question to you is, obviously, as you know, we run a recruitment agency for our industry. What I loved when I looked at your career page was the fact that if anyone wants to apply for a job, and you've got a few out there, which is great, is that they need to send you a letter explaining what their why is, which is why I asked you that. Why is that important to you? As opposed to just looking at someone's CV and their skills.
Yeah, because if, you know, we operate in a pretty interesting area, right? And what we found, and is it's obviously, you know, is if you can harness people's passion with work and align those two things together, the achievement that they can achieve and we can achieve is amazing, right? So and that is why, because when somebody writes a letter of why do I want to work within this organization, if they come in and go, because I'm super passionate about bike or whatever, or mountain bike or whatever, surf or whatever it is, you kind of know they're aligned with us already. Or they've got another reason, right? Maybe sustainability or passionate about this or about that, whatever it is. But if we see that passion, that is an immediate for us, you know, is an immediate, okay, this, because, you know, just having a standard CV with all the usual bits and pieces is great. And, you know, we're not driven by qualifications. We're really not. I mean, you know, mine are a mess if you look at me academically. But yeah, so that's really the why is really important. And it also, dare I say, it also makes, if somebody wants a job, they've got to spend a bit of time and write the why, which then sometimes sifts out people just fling the CV in, right? So
there's a fair bit of that too.
And we have an amazing, there's a young guy who manages our HR with a senior team, but you know, he's based in Soweto, Tando, and super young, came to us, been with us 2 years, and does the most amazing job. And there's a priming, you know, we run a digital nomad structure here, so people can work all over the world. And you know, I think, yeah, he's you know, as I said, based in Soweto in South Africa, working with us, you know, permanent, full time, and just doing the most amazing job. And his intro letter, the passion just shone through in that intro letter when the why letter that he wrote us. So yeah, very cool.
And the fact that you run this nomad lifestyle for people to be able to balance both, I take it that was something that happened pre-COVID, not just a result of COVID.
Absolutely. Yeah, we were running that pre-COVID, and look, we're starting to, you know, we are needing some of these businesses, you know, especially the social side. We're probably going to start bringing that back slightly more into an office structure in the new year, but still giving people the flexibility. But yeah, that's really important for me in terms of the overall.
Alistair, it's been a pleasure. I've really enjoyed chatting to you. I'm just gutted that we didn't do it face to face, just up the road from each other.
Totally, Cheryl. Thanks for the opportunity. Really appreciate it. And listen, best of luck with everything at your end.
You too. Take care, Alistair. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.